empirical law of cooling states that the rate at which a body cools is proportional to the difference between the temperature of the body and the temperature of the surrounding medium, the so-called ambient temperature. So let T, capital T, at time t be the temperature of body, and let Tm denote the constant temperature of the surrounding medium. So temperature is function of time, temperature of the body is function of time here. Then the rate at which the body cools, denoted by, is proportional to T minus Tm. According to Newton's law of cooling, it becomes dt by dt is equal to alpha time T into T minus Tm, where alpha is proportionality constant. So since we have assumed that the body is cooling, we must have the temperature greater than temperature of the medium, and so alpha must be negative. That is why we can consider here alpha less than 0. So that was one more. Here we have one more differential equation. It is about spread of a disease, and it is to understand the spread of a contagious disease, say a flu virus. It is appropriate to assume that the rate at which disease spreads is proportional not only to the number of persons pt who have contracted the disease, but also to the number of persons nt who have not been exposed. So if the rate of spread is dp by dt, then dp by dt will be proportional to pt into nt. That is, with proportionality constant, the first order differential equation for the model of spread of disease by a flu virus becomes dp by dt is equal to alpha time pt into nt. That is, dp by dt is equal to alpha pn. So let us assume that one infected person is introduced into a fixed population of m persons. Then capital P and capital N are related as capital P plus N is equal to M plus N, or N is equal to M plus 1 minus P. So with these assumptions, we can have the solution of this differential equation by the method of separation of variables, and we can predict that at what time how many persons will be infected by this flu virus. So cooling, warming law, population growth and decay, radioactive decay and carbon dating. There are other models also where the first order linear differential equations have been used as the differential equations governing the model. They are mixtures of two salt solutions, series circuits, survivability with AIDS, draining a tank, economics and finance. We see one of the model, drug distribution in human body, a pursuit problem, harvesting of renewable natural resources, and so on. So there are phenomena which may give rise to the differential equations of higher order. Let us see some of such applications.
Okay, so now let us come to the some physical phenomenon where a condition gives rise to higher order differential equations. Let us first consider simple harmonic motion. What we mean by a simple harmonic motion? When the acceleration of a particle is proportional to its displacement from a fixed point and is always directed towards it, then the motion is said to be simple harmonic motion. If the displacement of the particle at any time t from the fixed point O, that here we have in the figure that this is the fixed point O and this is the stretch. This A denote the amplitude, the maximum displacement of the particle, and let us take, if the displacement of the particle at any time t from the fixed point O is x, then by the definition of simple harmonic motion we get d2x by dt square is equal to minus mu square x, or it gives us d2x by dt square plus mu square x is equal to 0. Now you can see that this is a second order linear differential equation. Also what we can see is on the right hand side of to this differential equation we don't have any, the right hand side is 0. So this we can call a homogeneous differential equation, right? If we try to solve this differential equation, we get its general solution in the form x is equal to c1 cos mu t plus c2 sin mu t, where c1 and c2 are arbitrary constants. Now if we apply some initial conditions like that, when it attains the maximum amplitude, the particle start motion at a position x is equal to a when t is equal to 0, and the initial velocity dx by dt is 0 initially, then we get value of c1 and c2 as a and 0, and that gives us x is equal to a cos mu t, and differentiating that we get dx by dt, which is minus a mu sin mu t, or is equal to minus mu under root a square minus x square, using this x is equal to a cos mu t relationship, right. So what we obtain in by using the initial conditions are the displacement and velocity of the particle at any time t, right. Now here is the amplitude or the maximum displacement from the center. So this is an application where simple harmonic motion gives rise to second order differential equation. Let us consider another application, that take the case of simple pendulum. What we mean by the simple pendulum? A heavy particle attached by a light string to a fixed point and oscillating under gravity constitute a simple pendulum. Here we have an example that this O is a fixed particle. We have some string of length L and a heavy particle, we call it bob, that is attached to this light string, and we start making it oscillate Let O be the fixed point, L be the length of the string, and A be the position of the bob initially. This is the position of the bob initially. If P is the position of the bob at any time t, suppose it is at this position such that arc AP is S, so we have this distance is S and angle AOP is theta, the angle made here, if we take that as theta, then we have a relationship that S is equal to the arc length will become L into theta. The equation of the motion along PT becomes m d2s by dt square is equal to minus mg sin theta, because here if we take at particle P, if we what kind of forces are acting at particle P? One is the weight of that particle that is towards the ground, and another is the tangential component. Now as this weight is making angle theta, so this component will become mg cos theta and this perpendicular component will become mg sin theta. But as the motion is going towards this tangential side, we can take this tangential component, that is m times d2s by dt square is equal to minus mg sin theta. So if we rearrange the terms, we can get, by substituting s is equal to lt in this equation, we can write this in the form d2 theta by dt square is equal to minus g by L times sin theta. So again what we see here is a differential equation which is of order 2. Also what you can observe from this is that this differential equation is not a linear differential equations, because here this theta is the dependent variable, and if we bring this term on the left hand side, we get this as d2 theta by dt square plus g by L times sin theta is equal to 0, where this term is not linear in theta, right. So this is a non-linear differential equation. It is a second order non-linear differential equation. So we get this equation d2 theta by dt square plus g by L sin theta is equal to 0, and it is a non-linear equation. Now consider that the displacement, that the angle theta we are taking is very small, then we get that sin theta value is almost same as theta value, and if we can replace that sin theta by theta in this case, then we get the differential equation as d2 theta by dt2 plus g by L theta is equal to 0. This is a linear equation, and you can see that this equation is same as that of equation of simple harmonic motion. So here what application 1C of this differential equation is that not only it is describing two types of motion, one we call the simple harmonic motion and another is here the simple pendulum, but it also establish or convey the message that from the equation for small theta the simple pendulum motion is also a simple harmonic motion. So it also relates to different type of looking motion or into one, right. So let us take another application. Consider the case of oscillation of a spring. Here first we consider free oscillations. Suppose you are given a mass m that is suspended from the end A of a light spring. So you are given a light spring here, this is one end A, and we are suspending some mass m here. The other end of the end of which is fixed at O. So this is the fixed end of the spring. Now suppose E is the elongation produced by the mass hanging in equilibrium. So when we attach mass at A, it will get the spring will get elongated, right. Suppose this is the distance of elongation, right. Now, and if K be the restoring force per unit stretch of the spring due to elasticity, then for the equilibrium at B we have the relation that mg is equal to T, which is tension in the spring, is equal to K times E, right. So at this point it will be in the equilibrium position, right, and we have taken this the restoring force per unit stretch as K. Now suppose from this position B we give some oscillation to this mass m. Now why it is called free oscillation? Because we have a fixed support here and this motion is taking place in say some kind of a vacuum environment, right. So the oscillation of this mass are considered as free oscillations. So at any time t after the motion ensues, let the mass be at point P where this distance Bp is x. Then what we get as the equation of motion of mass m? We get it by the Newton's second law, m d2x by dt square is equal to mg minus k times x plus e. This is the total restoring force, right. And if we use the condition that mg is same as ke, we can simplify this two as m d2x by dt square is equal to minus kx. If we use a constant mu square for k by m, then we can write this equation in the form d2x by dt square plus mu square x is equal to 0. Again you can compare this equation with the equation of simple harmonic motion, and what we can see is that the free oscillation condition also gives rise to the simple harmonic motion, right. So now let us consider the next condition that we call the damped oscillations. In damped oscillation what we do is that we apply some kind of damping here. For example, you consider that this mass when you are hanging it from O, hanging to the spring, right, attached to O, and you are putting this whole system, the mass part, into water, say, right. So it will create some kind of damping in the movement. So if the mass m is subjected to damping force, and suppose this damping force is what is proportional to the velocity, is for example, suppose you are running, you are walking, right, you won't feel the resistance of air much, but if you start running, then you will feel that something is opposing you, and as you start to run faster and faster, you will see that more and more dampen you are feeling, right, by the air. So in normal conditions, when we take the motion in such kind of medium, the damping force is normally proportional to the velocity of the oscillations. Say that term is r dx by dt, where r is the constant of proportionality, right. Then the equation of the motion we can write again using that Newton's law. Here we can see that this restoring force will be in the upward direction, this dampening force will also be in the upward direction, in a sense that it will make this motion come to stop, right. The only force which is moving, which moves in the downward direction, is the weight of that object, right, or particle. So we get the equation as m d2 x by dt square is equal to mg minus k times e plus x minus r times dx by dt. Again, if we write r by m is equal to 2 lambda and k by m is equal to mu square, we can write this equation in the form d2 x by dt square plus 2 lambda times dx by dt plus mu square x is equal to 0. Now we see that this equation is different from earlier 3 equations, right. The first is simple harmonic motion, the second one was the motion of simple pendulum, and the third one was the free oscillation of the spring, right. But again it's a linear equation, is of order 2, again is homogeneous as the right hand side of this equation is 0. Now consider third kind of motion that we call forced oscillation. What we mean by here we consider forced oscillation without damping. So what we mean by this forced oscillation? So by in forced oscillation, first it is without damping, so we have removed this dampened portion from here. So now this is again the motion is taking place into free medium, but what we have done is that now this support here we have, that is not a solid or fixed support. Suppose you are using here some kind of spring support, for example, right. So when this object start vibrating or it start oscillating, then it will also get help from this support as well. Like if you are instead of sleeping in a simple bed, a wooden bed, is suppose you are sitting on a spring bed. So when you sit on a spring bed, even though spring also help you creating some vibration in your body. So this is also kind of similar situation. So and we assume that say this